So what could have Firestone done to have improved their crisis communication response?
Well, I think if you look at the situation in its entirety, once it became publicly known what the extent of the Firestone tire recall was, both communications teams, both the team for Firestone and the team for Ford, did the best that they could at that time in responding to it, responding to the media. They did all of the classical things that are recommended during a crisis communications effort when you're responding to an emergency. But if you really analyze what's going on and how today, with regard to corporations, and what is the lesson that today's corporations can learn from the Firestone-Ford controversy, is that there really needs to be a better process internally at major corporations to have a corporation's risk management team that gets involved with all of the different components of a corporation early on. So if there is a problem that's detected, like there was with the Firestone problem, it started out as an isolated situation in Venezuela and in Saudi Arabia, and then when it finally hit the United States with the first accident in Texas, and the regulators in the United States got involved with it, then it really blossomed. But there was a tip of the iceberg kind of a situation that had taken place long before it happened in the United States. So where was the corporate communications team in that process? What were they responsible for? What were they able to get involved with? How were they able to really address it from the point of view of, the kind of corporate inertia that takes place? Communicators are always fighting the, well, we've always done this before kind of attitude in any major corporation. And the problem is, or the answer is, well, they've got to be involved in the decision-making process or the risk communications management process early on. So if there is a detected issue, how do they handle it? And they begin that process almost from the get-go. And also with the, quite frankly, having them involved in product development issues. So they're just not at the end of the communications chain when something happens. They're at the beginning of the product or service development process. Maybe a dedicated team that doesn't have to worry about the marketing of it, doesn't have to worry about the day-to-day public relations issues. A dedicated team that can really be looking at these kinds of communications concerns early on to help avoid the crisis. So you're just not managing the crisis as it happens, you're avoiding the crisis before it happens.